Hi, this is Teddy, and you're listening to Tricia Zunker in Wisconsin on Two Broads Talking Politics, part of the Demcast Podcast Network. Stay home and save lives.
Hey everyone, this is Kelly with Two Broads Talking Politics, part of the Demcast family of podcasts, and we are joined today by Tricia Zunker, who is running in a special election in Wisconsin that's coming up pretty quickly here. So hello, Tricia.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. So let's just start with some background. Tell me about you, who you are, and why you're running for Congress in this special election.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised in Wausau, which is here in the 7th Congressional District of Wisconsin. I grew up in a strong union household. I am a member of Ho-Chunk Nation, one of the 11 federally recognized tribes here in Wisconsin. I am a first-generation college graduate. I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and then I went to law school at UCLA. I came back and I worked for my tribe in an elected capacity as Associate Justice of the Ho-Chunk Supreme Court. I'm currently in my second elected term serving the Ho-Chunk Nation, and now I'm also a school board president of the Wausau School District. So when I made my way back to Wisconsin, I made my way back to my hometown of Wausau, Wisconsin, and I serve the community in that way. I'm also on the board of directors for the ACLU of Wisconsin. I teach at one online law school, 2 online universities, and I am a solo parent to an amazing 9-year-old boy.
Sounds like you're pretty busy.
Yeah, I'm a little bit busy, but there was time to run for Congress doing that full-time plus, and the reason I am is because there's so much at stake. We need real representation for the people here in Wisconsin 7, and this part of the country is not alone in that regard. Congressman Dave Obey represented this district for 42 years. He was an amazing representative. He was my congressman my entire childhood, quite frankly, and he's endorsed me in this race, but we've been without representation for a good decade here in the 7th Congressional District. And I believe in public service. I believe that I have an obligation and a duty to give back. There have been opportunities that presented themselves in my life, and I seized upon them. I come from very humble beginnings, but because of those opportunities, my life looks different than some people might have anticipated if you looked at me 30 years ago. And I believe that's the role of a representative, to ensure that there are opportunities for people to improve their lives if they want them. And I'm the only one in this race that cares about the people of Wisconsin 7, cares about the environment. And so that's why I'm running. Really, I had no choice. I had to do it. And I'm really looking forward to serving the people of Wisconsin in Congress. In fact, this is going to be a historic race, because when I win on May 12th, I will be the first Native American, specifically Ho-Chunk, representing Wisconsin in Congress. And I will be the first woman ever representing Wisconsin 7 in Congress. Talk about some overdue representations. But I am not asking anyone to vote for me because I am a woman or an Indigenous woman. I'm asking people to vote for me because I am a hard worker, I'm qualified, I'm going to get the job done. But women's issues are human issues, and it is high time that our women and our girls see themselves reflected in congressional leadership here in Wisconsin 7, and our boys need to see it too.
So tell me some about the Wisconsin 7th. I know this is a very gerrymandered district. So where in Wisconsin is it? You know, what are the sorts of people that live there? What do they do?
Yes, it is the northern third of the state of Wisconsin. It is a 26-county congressional district, extremely rural. It is the largest congressional district east of the Mississippi River. I live in Wausau, which is approximately 40,000 people, and this is the largest city in the district, just to give you an idea of how rural this district is. There are a lot of shared concerns throughout this district, whether we're talking about people that are seeking affordable, accessible health care, including mental health care. We have a farm crisis here in Wisconsin, and specifically Wisconsin 7, with our small and mid-sized farmers going bankrupt at alarming rates, and also farmer suicide crisis that's happening. The environment is on a lot of people's minds. We just have such beautiful protected lands here that need to stay protected, and we need to ensure clean air and clean water for generations to come, and address this climate emergency with the urgency it requires. I put thousands upon thousands of miles on my car getting throughout this expansive district. This was pre-global pandemic, of course. Now we are safe social distancing and doing everything virtual. But before that hit, I was out in the district. And while I heard about these concerns, there was also a common theme that emerged throughout this expansive district, and that people are tired of division. They're tired of attacks. They're tired of the gridlock. And they just want to see somebody who's going to work hard for them in Congress and make things happen so that their lives are better. And that's something that I would do. I do this in my capacity as school board president. I work really well with people on other sides of the political spectrum. You know, it's supposed to be nonpartisan seats, but you know where people fall. And we do that through respectful communication, listening, and going to the facts and data, which is a source of decision making, which I don't think enough people in powerful decisions do. And that's something I would bring to Congress as well. But that's people are just really looking for real representation here. And I'm prepared to do that.
So this is a district that in 2018 went pretty handily for the Republican. It's rated by Cook as an R+7. But we know that special elections, so much comes down to turnout, which is problematic right now during a pandemic. So tell me sort of what you're feeling on the ground, what you're seeing, you know, what does this look like on May 12th?
Well, voter turnout was certainly already a concern because it is this random May 12th date. And I think the tides are turning here. We just saw that Judge Jill Karofsky, she did really well in this part of the district, much better than the 2018 Supreme Court candidate. And she just won, if you're aware of this, is just the recent April 7th election here in Wisconsin, which unfortunately was still in person. The Republicans made it difficult for a mail-in election, something I advocated for both with the April 7th election and the May 12th election, because nobody should risk their lives to exercise their fundamental right to vote. Just indicating how important our elections are. This is a no-brainer, yet the Wisconsin Republicans didn't support that idea, and they don't for May 12th. But yeah, it is a gerrymandered district, but at the same time, I have had so many conversations with people across the political spectrum, and we are more alike than we are different here in Wisconsin 7. And I think a lot of people vote the candidate. And I do think that I appeal to a lot of people because I'm genuine. I'm authentic. I'm in this to work hard for people. It means something to me to hang my hat on the day and say, this is what I was able to accomplish in my job representing people. And I do that in my capacity as school board president. I do it in other capacities. And so even though, yes, the numbers don't look good, I'm a very different candidate. My opponent isn't the same Republican candidate that it's been for 10 years. So we have a lot of variables here, and we are working really hard getting our message out, being as creative as we can during this pandemic, just constant calls, reaching out to voters, using social media, getting on the airwaves. And we also have people throughout the state and country that are working for this campaign in volunteer capacities, making calls, sending text messages. There are so many people in support, and I have pledged people here in Wisconsin 7 that if they can work hard for me on this end, I am going to work so hard for them in Congress, and people are really stepping up throughout this huge district. I think we're going to do well on May 12th, but we are not taking anything for granted. We are working hard each and every day.
Excellent. So you were just endorsed by Senator Elizabeth Warren, who put out a list of endorsements of women running down ballot, several of whom have been on this podcast, including Sharice Davids, who was the first ever woman from the Ho-Chunk Nation to be elected to Congress. So tell me a little bit about what it means to get an endorsement like that, how that helps the visibility of your race.
Yeah, it is such a deep honor to be endorsed by Senator Elizabeth Warren and to be on that list with incredible women like my Ho-Chunk sister, Sharice Davids. I was texting with Sharice last night and telling her what an honor it is to be on there with her and what statistically are the chances to have two Ho-Chunk women, which is 500, and I think now it's to date 574 federally recognized tribes, although I could be off a number or two on that. And so statistically, what are the chances? But not sure if you're aware of this, Ho-Chunk Nation, we are the people of the big voice. And I sort of feel, not even sort of, we are using our big voice in this capacity to make things better for people. But yeah, it is a deep honor. And also another person on that list was Representative Katie Porter. And something that I learned after I started running is that she's the only single parent in Congress. And that when I am elected on May 12th, I will double the population of single parents in Congress. And if that doesn't speak volumes on the need for campaign finance reform, I don't know what does, because we are never going to achieve a government reflective of society until we have campaign finance reform. I mean, look at how many single parents we have in Congress. We're keeping out strong representatives under the system that we currently allow. It's unfortunate. But yeah, I'm so honored by Senator Warren's endorsement. Senator Tammy Baldwin also endorsed me last week, another person I have great admiration for. And I just look forward to being able to work hard and work with them from Congress.
So talk to me about what people who are listening can do to help out your campaign. It's just a few weeks until the election, as we mentioned, and I'm sure that you can use all of the help that you can get right now. So what are ways that people can help, and how can they sign up to do that?
There are a number of ways that people can help. I am simultaneously earning votes and raising funds, and raising funds translates to earning even more votes. So you can go to my website, which is www.tricia4wisconsin.com. My name is spelled TRICIA, FOR written out, Wisconsin written out.com. And on that website is an opportunity to sign up and volunteer. You can do this from any part of the country. We have people that are doing text messages on our behalf, that are making phone calls, raising awareness of this campaign, and other opportunities to volunteer as well. Also, contributions to this campaign will be immensely helpful. This is a grassroots campaign. I refuse to accept corporate PAC money, because we need to get the corporate money out of politics, and we need to have representatives that are accountable to the people and only the people. But I am running against an opponent who has a Koch brothers backed campaign. And so those numbers look quite different in what they report and what we report. We are being very intentional in how we use our funds so that we can reach as many voters as possible. But right now, in these last few weeks, every dollar that we raise is going towards getting our message on the airwaves that much further in this 26 county congressional district, as well as in people's mailboxes and on social media. So even, whatever the contribution amount, every dollar makes a difference. And that would be really helpful as well. You don't have to live in this district to care about this race or be affected by the outcome of it. Because when we flip this district back to blue, Wisconsin is blue again. And given Wisconsin's centrality in the 2020 presidential election, the pathway to a new president starts with this Wisconsin 7th special election on May 12th.
Tell me a little bit about your son and what he thinks about your run for Congress. I saw this super cute video the other day on your Facebook feed with your son as the sort of reporter interviewing you. So talk to me about, what that looks like in real time, being a single mom running for office, and how your son is dealing with the campaign.
Yeah, my son is amazing. Our family, I'm a solo parent, and our family is my 9-year-old son, our dog, and me. And the very first person that I consulted in discussion about running for this special election, which was a seat I was considering a run for in 2022 against the person who actually resigned. So it was on my mind. I didn't think it was going to happen as soon as it did, but then he resigned, and so this opportunity presented itself. And the very first person I consulted was my son. And we talked about it, and he was supportive. He has been on this ride with me as long as he can remember. I mean, when I was first running in the Ho-Chunk Nation for Associate Justice of the Ho-Chunk Supreme Court, I was still living in California, flying back with my then 2-year-old in tow. And the Ho-Chunk Nation is the only tribe in Wisconsin that doesn't have reservation land. Our lands are held in trust in pockets throughout the state. So I'd be flying back and going to northern parts of the state and campaigning up there. And then I'd go back to California and earn the money I needed to support my son and I as a solo parent. And then I'd fly us back to Wisconsin and campaign in another part of the state. And if that wasn't foreshadowing, quite frankly, to what I've been doing running in 26 county congressional district, I don't know what is. But so he was with me on that ride, then campaigning for school board a couple years ago. He hit so many doors with me. I knocked on 3,500 doors here in Wausau, Wisconsin, and most of them my son was with me. So I think he just has a very different childhood than I did, and that's what mom does. Mom runs for things, and she tries to make things better. But when I explained that to him, he was very supportive, and in fact, he wants me to run for president someday. So I said, well, let's just do one seat at a time here. But he's supportive. It's just been a little bit difficult right now with now homeschooling in this global pandemic. I really worry about our children through this global pandemic. My son is an only child, so to lose that social interaction as we practice safer at home is really something. His teacher's been great in doing the Google Chats twice a week so he can connect with his classmates that way, but it's not the same as 5 days of school, 7 hours a day. So right now is a little bit challenging, and we're just having to kind of adapt in what life looks like. And one of the things that actually Senator Tammy Baldwin asked me last week when we did a Zoom conference is, well, what advice would you give to people? And it's so funny because it's like, I need to listen to my own advice. And the thing I said is, well, we have to kind of take some pressure off ourselves and realize that we can't hold ourselves to these standards of perfection right now. This is an unprecedented public health crisis, economic crisis, and mental health crisis that I don't think people are talking enough about, that third one. But we just need to do the best we can in these circumstances. And I'm finding that to be the case just with my son, in this time of homeschooling and campaigning in a challenging district and doing the work that I need to do in my elected capacities and teaching the classes that I still teach. That's a long answer, too. I think we're doing pretty good over here, though.
I love it. And your son reminds me of my son. So maybe someday when this is all over, they can meet up.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, I was surprised by my son. He really delivered in that video. I didn't know if he would, how much he would be on board with it. And then, camera starts rolling and he just jumped into it. I was like, who is this child? He really embraced the reporter role.
The silver lining perhaps of all of this is everyone's learning new skills they didn't know they had.
Absolutely. That and the environmental impact. I try to see, positives in any situation. And, if I were to go to a part of the district, most parts of the district are, 2-3 hour drive one way. So if I wanted to go to Hudson, Wisconsin or Superior, Wisconsin and be back that same day, that's 6 hours in a car. That's that much more environmental pollution from, driving. Think about all the people that aren't out there now, clogging up the roads, clogging up the highways because people are working virtually. So that is the silver lining of this situation is we are having less of an environmental impact that is negative. And then I heard something, I was on a radio program yesterday and somebody was talking about because of the cruise ships that aren't out now, the whales, it's having such a positive effect on our whales and their population right now.
All right. Well, I know that you're busy, so we won't keep you much longer, but remind everybody how they can find out more about your campaign.
Yes, you can go to our website, www.triciaforwisconsin.com. My name is spelled Tric as in cat, IA, for written out, FOR, Wisconsin written out.com. Also, we have active social media. If you type Tricia Zunker for Wisconsin in the search bar in Facebook, it will pull up our page. We keep that going constantly with updates. I'm also on Twitter. My handle is @Tricia for written out, FORWI.
All right. Excellent. Well, Tricia, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. And we wish you the best of luck in these upcoming crazy weeks. And then are you running again in the fall in the general election?
Yes, I am. Regardless of the outcome on May 12th, which we are planning on prevailing on May 12th, but regardless of the outcome, I still have to run for November. And a lot of people are surprised by that. But I have to remind people, this is a special election to fill the remainder of a term, and that the person who resigned would have had to run again in November anyway. So this is quite a marathon, May 12th and then November. Yep, absolutely.
All right, excellent. Well, best of luck, and we will be watching those results very closely.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the time, and I'm looking forward to our kids getting to meet in person someday.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for listening to Two Broads Talking Politics, part of the Demcast Podcast Network. Our theme song is called Are You Listening? Off of the album Elephant-Shaped Trees by the band Immunuri, and we're using it with permission of the band. Our logo and other original artwork is by Matthew Weflin and was created for use by this podcast. You can contact us at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com or on Twitter or Facebook at Two Broads Talk. You can find all of our episodes at twobroadstalkingpolitics.com or anywhere podcasts are found.